very good evening and welcome to the news tonight. Your one stop for the day's top stories from India and across the world. I'm Tracy Shilchi and here are the headlines. Rajya Sabha Chairman Mohammad Hamid Ansari convenes an all-party meeting. No consensus on GST, but parties agree to pass 6 pending bills. Opposition Congress demands the recall of Arunachal Pradesh Governor in Rajya Sabha. Raj Bhavan to appeal High Court stay on his notification advancing the State Assembly session. 58 opposition members, including YSR Congress Party Chief Vice Jagmohan Reddy, suspended from the Andhra Pradesh Assembly. MLAs had stalled proceedings to press for a debate on the call money racket. Juvenile convict in the Delhi gang rape case is all set to walk free by Sunday. The Delhi High Court says no legal provision is currently there to hold him in jail. And Beijing issues a second pollution red alert this month, warns residents to prepare for a wave of choking smog over the weekend. Top story this evening, a united opposition mounted pressure on the government in Rajya Sabha to recall the governor of Arunachal Pradesh. An opposition motion to discuss the conduct of the governor in the House was also accepted by the chairman, though the time for the discussion was left undecided. As the opposition escalated its offensive against the governor, the proceedings of the House were disrupted, leading to several adjournments.
Congress members were vociferous in their demands to recall the governor of Arunachal Pradesh for his alleged partisan role. Continuing its tirade against the governor for the 4th day in a row, the Congress alleged that the constitution was under attack in Arunachal Pradesh. Leader of opposition in the Rajya Sabha, Ghulam Nabi Azad, raised questions over the vote of no confidence against the Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh, wondering if it can be moved in a restaurant.
माननीय गवर्नर साहब ने सेशन बुलाया था विधानसभा का, कैबिनेट को पूछे बगैर, चीफ मिनिस्टर को पूछे बगैर, उनकी अनुमति के बगैर, उनकी रिक्वेस्ट के बगैर, और माननीय गवर्नर साहब ने जिस तरह से एजेंडा पूरी विधानसभा में तय किया था, ये तमाम चीजें भारत के इतिहास में पहली दफा हो रही है और हिंदुस्तान के संविधान की धज्जियां उड़ाई जा रही हैं।
Leaders of regional parties also supported the Congress's demand, complaining of gross violation of the constitution in Arunachal Pradesh. KC Tyagi of the JDU asserted that political turmoil in the volatile and sensitive state must be averted.
म्यांमार के साथ, चीन के साथ उसका लंबा बॉर्डर लगा हुआ है सर, वहां पर जे सिंह से लेकर के और लेफ्टिनेंट जनरल निर्भय शर्मा तक जो आर्मी के हेड हैं, वहां के गवर्नर रहे हैं। वर्तमान में मैं नेशनल इंटरेस्ट में कहना चाहता हूं कि गवर्नर की भूमिका को लेकर के और आर्टिकल 356 को लेकर के, और सर ऐसा नहीं हुआ, कभी भी गलतियां इन्होंने भी की हैं, लेकिन मेरी बात सुन लीजिए, ऐसी गलती कभी नहीं हुई कि डांस बार में बैठ करके मीटिंग करें एमएलए की।
When the constitution is violated, notwithstanding what is there in the rules, what is there in his rule in 167, is not the spirit of that man be taken up as a word. I am asking the chair, if a constitution is violated in such a vulgar fashion, what should this house do?
The government, however, asserted that the Guwahati High Court has stayed the assembly sessions of Arunachal Pradesh and that sub judice matters cannot be raised in parliament.
The matter which is sub judice, the matter which is already High Court has given some decision, and by any means you cannot again start discussion on governor's conduct without chairman deciding on the substantive motion. That's my point of order.
Please. But the opposition was unrelenting in their demand. The TMC and SP also staged a walkout in protest.
Constitutional authority in Arunachal.
Please.
We are staging a protest walkout.
He has raised the question.
Congress members trooped into the well, raising pitch against the governor.
Absent.
AIADMK and CPIM members also moved to the aisles, demanding the centre's intervention. The House witnessed several adjournments due to the stalemate. This is Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha television.
And Congress members continued their tirade against the BJP, accusing the party of trying to bring down the government in Arunachal Pradesh. And this, of course, in Lok Sabha. MPs of the Congress wanted to speak on the issue in the beginning of the question hour itself, but the Speaker did not allow it. In 0 hour, the government did not heed to the Congress's demands of an answer on the issue. In protest, Congress MPs walked out of the House for the third consecutive day on the issue. Speaking for the government, the Minister of State for Parliamentary Affairs did say that they were ready to discuss the issue, but the path adopted by the Congress was not correct.
हम हमेशा चाहेंगे कि हाउस ऑर्डर में रहे और जो भी सवाल प्रतिपक्ष उठाना चाहता है, we would 100% like to answer them. We'll answer it, but this would not be the process which is being adopted. Or we are ready for any question raised by the opposition. We are 100% ready. We are 100% confident that we will be able to satisfy the opposition. But this process is not acceptable, ma'am.
Meanwhile, Arunachal Pradesh Governor J.P. Rajkhowa has decided to appeal against the Guwahati High Court order that stayed his notification to advance the assembly session. A Raj Bhavan communique has said that an appeal will be filed after obtaining relevant documents, including the writ petition. It, however, didn't say if the challenging petition will be filed before a division bench of the High Court or the Supreme Court. The Raj Bhavan reaction comes a day after Justice Rishikesh Roy of the Guwahati High Court stayed the governor's notification, advancing the assembly session from the 14th of January to December 16th. The judge posted the case for hearing on the 1st of February next year.
It is the first time in the history of Arunachal Pradesh the situation has been created by a highest office of the state, whom we expect many things, and we wish to safeguard the state and constitutions. BJP have only 11 members. They are not supposed to play any political game. Therefore, only thing is that they are trying to destabilize the government by a national political party and try to instigate some of the Congress MLAs.
प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी, ये बीजेपी के राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष अमित शाह साहब, किरण रिजिजू ये मिनिस्टर है, अभी मिनिस्टर होम अफेयर्स का मिनिस्टर है, और उसके अलावा बीजेपी का पदाधिकारीगण, उन्होंने इंचार्ज वहां नॉर्थ ईस्ट को, सब लोग इकट्ठा करके हमारा सरकार डेमोक्रेटिकली कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनली इलेक्टेड सरकार को बंद करने के लिए, उसके बाद बीजेपी सरकार बनाने के लिए कोशिश किया, उसको कोर्ट ने रद्द कर दिया.
While the Arunachal politics continues, the all-party meet convened by Rajya Sabha Chairman Mohammad Hamid Ansari today to try and end the stalemate in the upper house failed to do so. There was no consensus on the GST bill, even as leaders agreed on passing 6 other bills that are pending in the House.
After days of disruptions and adjournments, Rajya Sabha Chairman convened an all-party meet on Friday to try and end the logjam. The meeting, attended by leaders of several parties, including Leader of the House Arun Jaitley and Leader of Opposition Ghulam Nabi Azad, ended on a positive note, with everyone deciding to allow the House to function smoothly starting Monday. They also agreed to pass 6 other pending bills. These include the SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Amendment Bill, Appropriation Bills, Anti-Hijacking Bill, the Atomic Energy Amendment Bill, the Commercial Courts Ordinance and the Arbitration and Conciliation Amendment Bill.
सभी में निर्णय किया है कि कामकाज होना चाहिए. जो सरकारी बिल हैं, जो देश के विकास से जुड़े हुए बिल हैं, जो देश के आम लोगों, गरीबों, कमजोर तबकों की तरक्की से जुड़े हुए बिल हैं, वो पास होने चाहिए. देर रात तक बैठ करके हम पास करेंगे. जो कुछ भी नुकसान हुआ है उसकी भरपाई करेंगे.
On the question of the contentious GST bill, however, there is no consensus. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley is believed to have appealed to the opposition to pass the constitution bill this session, but to no avail.
कुछ बिल जो हैं जिन लोगों का हमने वादा किया था, जैसे SC/ST बिल है, उसका हम लोगों ने वादा किया था कि हम पूरी तरह से इसको पास करेंगे. इसी तरह से अप्रोप्रिएशंस बिल है, उनको तो अनिवार्य है पास करना. तो मेरे ख्याल में वो तमाम बिल जिस पे हमने पहले
जीएसटी पे बात
उस पे कोई बात नहीं हुई।
जिन विधेयकों पर सहमति बनी है उनको पास कराया जाए। जीएसटी महत्वपूर्ण बिल है, जनता दल यू इसके समर्थन में है, लेकिन कांग्रेस पार्टी के मित्रों की कई आपत्तियां हैं जिनको शासक दल को एड्रेस करना चाहिए।
There is agreement that House should function. Monday House should function and some bills will have to be taken up. There are certain bills on which there is consensus and they must be cleared.
The leaders also agreed to discuss 3 other bills: the Child Labour Amendment Bill, the Whistleblowers Protection Amendment Bill and the Juvenile Justice Bill. Leaders also agreed to discuss matters of public importance like price rise, impact of flood and drought on agriculture, intolerance and a discussion on the developments in Arunachal Pradesh. Vishal Dahiya's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And our correspondent Vishal Dahiya spoke to Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha, Professor P.J. Kurian, on the issues discussed in the all-party meeting. The Deputy Chairman said that the House would work extra hours to compensate for the loss of hours in these past weeks. Let's listen in.
Chairman gave a list of the bills which are not controversial or which there is a consensus. And he put the question, when bills are there or which there is a consensus, all parties are agreeing on the bill, then why not you pass it? And that question was responded positively by the political party leaders. And therefore there was an agreement that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday we should sit, discuss the bills and dispose of the bills.
One of the issues which in the last 3 days or 4 days we have seen with the protesting members from the opposition benches raising was wanting a discussion on the issue of Arunachal Pradesh. So will that issue, as the notice for that motion which has been given by some opposition members, will that issue be also discussed in the last 3 days of the session?
See, in addition to the bills, yes, there are certain issues over which members are agitated. That is, say for example, the price rise. Members want discussion on price rise. Members want discussion on intolerance. Then members want discussion on Tamil Nadu flood, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal. The flood, the devastating flood there. Members want a discussion on that. And also there is a motion, substantive motion, against the conduct of the governor of Arunachal Pradesh. And this motion is also admitted by the Honorable Chairman. Now, in the next 3 days, what has been decided is that first 2 hours, that is from 2 to 4, the morning hours will be for 0 hour and question hour. Then from 2 to 4, we will take up bills, and 4 p.m. onwards, we will take up these discussions, which members want, including calling attention and other subjects. And from 4 to 6, usually we sit, but it is decided that we will sit beyond 6 p.m. We can sit late and discuss all these subjects. And in that, the motion against the governor is also there.
All right, to explain the story better and the political ramifications of this, especially with the Congress saying no GST, at least in this session, we've got political editor of The Hindu, Smita Gupta, joining us in studio this evening. Smita, at this point of time, how much of a jolt is this for the government that was really hoping and pinning its hopes on the fact that the GST would get passed this time around?
Well, today it's quite interesting that both the leader of opposition in the Rajya Sabha, Ghulam Nabi Azad, as well as CPM General Secretary Sitaram Yechury, they both hinted at something which is quite interesting, that perhaps there are differences inside the BJP and inside the government on the passage of the GST bill. And they gave the following reasons. They said that when the Prime Minister was himself the Chief Minister of Gujarat, he had opposed the bill. So had Shivraj Singh Chauhan of Madhya Pradesh.
Yes.
Two, that if the GST bill was so important, then this episode in Arunachal Pradesh of trying to topple the chief minister there, as well as the raid on the Delhi Secretariat,
yes.
would have perhaps taken at a even if they wanted to do it, they wouldn't have done it in the middle of the session to annoy the, the opposition, which has raised these issues right through this session.
Yes.
So it's not quite clear. Of course, I mean, now the only thing that we know is that it's not going to be passed in this session, that at the end of the meeting that Mr. Hamid Ansari, chairman of Rajya Sabha, had called, Mr. Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi, the MOS Parliamentary Affairs, said that efforts were still on, that Mr. Jaitley had again made an appeal, etc. But it's also interesting to look at this meeting today, because yesterday the Prime Minister himself who was present in the House. When the House was adjourned at some point, he went into the chamber of the Rajya Sabha chairman.
Okay.
And we can only conclude, we don't know exactly what happened, but the fact that Mr. Hamid Ansari called a meeting today at 2:30, an all-party meeting, one can surmise that this meeting comes as a result of that conversation that took place yesterday. And from what I can gather from talking to the MPs who attended the meeting, it was finally decided that let us let us at least pass bills that
a few of the other
on which
bills.
there's a consensus.
Yeah.
For instance, if you take the SC/ST Atrocity Act, the amendments to it, this has been a long-standing demand of the Congress party. And in 2014, before they demitted office, they even had an ordinance on this. And in fact, it is interesting that this is one ordinance that this government did not re-promulgate.
Okay.
So it's a big issue.
Yes.
And the other thing is that the Juvenile Justice Bill, as well as another bill, will be sent to the Select Committee. This was also under pressure from the opposition.
Yeah.
So, and finally, I think the opposition parties, including the Congress party, don't want people to say that they are blocking the House because of the national herald
That's what I was going to ask you very quickly, Smita. Do you think the next 3 days, the remaining 3 days of winter session, finally will be seeing some work taking place, at least in Rajya Sabha?
Well, today, from what Mr. Azad, Mr. Yechuri, all these opposition leaders in the Rajya Sabha said, I would imagine that they will, unless something fresh crops up.
Yes.
I mean, I think one will have to wait and watch to see what happens tomorrow also, when the Congress President Sonia Gandhi and the Vice President Rahul Gandhi appear at the courts.
Yes.
But I have a feeling that they will try to pass these bills. They also want certain discussions on the floods, on inflation, on intolerance, as well as, most important, they want a discussion on Arunachal Pradesh.
Absolutely.
So I think they have also come to, I mean, they must be also getting feedback from their own constituents that there are limits to how much
you can protest.
You can disrupt
there
the House.
Needs to be some work
to,
that needs to be done.
You know, have your say on the floor.
All right. We'll leave it there, Smita. Thanks so much for joining us. And yes, we do hope that the next 3 days, the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, when the last 3 days of the winter session, we see some work getting done. Thank you so much. With that, we'll take a quick break here. We'll be back with more national, international news. Stay with us.
Today we bring to you the Arbitration Conciliation Amendment Bill 2015.
It is expected that the proceedings are completed in the fastest possible time.
But definitely it will help in streamlining the arbitration proceedings.
Arbitration is tending to be very costly.
Watch Law of the Land, Saturday at 6:30 p.m. on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. Let's get you some more national news. And 58 members of the opposition YSR Congress, including opposition leader Y.S. Jagmohan Reddy, were suspended from the Andhra Pradesh Assembly today. The action followed their protest in the House to press for a debate on the call money racket. The opposition members were suspended till the conclusion of the ongoing debate on Constitution and the contribution of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Some of the party members were evicted by marshals after they refused to leave the House. Party MLA Roja Selvamani was suspended for 1 year from the House. The party members started shouting slogans seeking a debate on the call money racket and stalled proceedings in support of their demand. Over 80 call money operators, many of them having different political affiliations, have so far been arrested in connection with this racket.
From the beginning, I am fighting for women issues. And they can't face my, they can't face me. So they want to suspend me. And without me, they want to do sessions. And they don't have the rights to suspend me for 1 year. They can suspend me only up to this session, means only 3 days. But without procedure, they are doing all these things.
Meanwhile, the Delhi High Court today refused to extend the jail time for the juvenile convicted in the 16 December 2012 Delhi gang rape case. The court said that he could be released on or before the 20th of December. Amid public protest, the parents of the victim demanded that the juvenile should get a stricter punishment.
The youngest of the 6 convicts in the brutal Delhi gang rape incident is all set to walk free on Sunday. The Delhi High Court refused to intervene, saying he cannot be kept in custody under existing legal provisions. The 20-year-old convict has completed his 3-year jail term.
उसको रिलीज तो करना ही पड़ेगा, मगर जो उसको रिहेबिलिटेशन की प्रोग्राम्स हैं और जो भी हैं प्रावधान उसकी देखभाल के लिए और उसको ठीक से उसकी परवरिश हो, वो सरकार करे, इसके ऊपर कोर्ट ने कहा है.
On post-release rehabilitation, the court directed the Juvenile Justice Board of Delhi to interact with the boy, his parents and the Delhi government's Women and Child Development Department officials. Meanwhile, parents of the victims said that they will abide by the court's decision.
हम कोर्ट से बड़े तो हैं नहीं, तो कोर्ट ने जो किया सोच समझ के किया होगा, आगे जैसा होगा देखेंगे. तकलीफ तो है, लेकिन क्या करें, हम भी मजबूर हैं.
The bench also said BJP leader Subramanian Swamy's petition seeking a stay on the convict's release cannot be allowed as the existing law was coming in its way. The order triggered a huge public outcry.
Juvenile offenders who have been condemned, who have been declared as being the co-accused, unfortunately they got the benefit of the law. Such people should not be, such offenders should not be allowed to be mixed up in the society.
The juvenile was under 18 when he was arrested for the crime. The 23-year-old paramedical student was sexually assaulted on the night of December 16th, 3 years ago. She died 13 agonizing days later in Singapore. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And various political parties have reacted to the Delhi High Court's remarks that the juvenile's release cannot be prevented under the existing legal provisions.
And he goes back to his area, I think it's Badayo, and hopefully he is rehabilitated. And we can only hope that he will never repeat this terrible crime again. I am sure that the Home Ministry will inform the local policemen. And I'm sure that they will keep him under watch, but it will be an informal watch until the law is stabilized on that.
We are willing to cooperate, but the government has created such a situation inside and outside Parliament that it has resulted in this kind of a log jam where the Parliament is simply not able to function. It has to be discussed. Parties, members, they have their views. It can be discussed and it should be discussed considering the prevailing situation in the country.
We made many years ago. People didn't grow up so quickly. And I think the government is actively engaged, to bringing down this age. The juvenile homes that we have are not working very efficiently.
Well, the High Court has gone strictly by the letter of the law. That's the law. But the point is, it's also looked for some executive action. I think we should still go back to the Supreme Court. The parents or Dr. Subramanian Swamy, whoever, or another person, saying that we need the Supreme Court to fill in a vacuum. What do we do in such a case where the person himself is under a threat or he is a threat?
And now let's get you some updates from across the country in Nationwide. Pope Francis has paved the way for Mother Teresa to become a saint. Pope credited the Nobel Prize-winning Catholic missionary with performing a second miracle to intercession with God, curing a Brazilian man of a deadly brain disease. The Pope is likely to hold a canonization ceremony for Mother Teresa in September. Union Minister Sanjeev Balian surrendered in a court after a bailable warrant was issued against him for failing to appear in connection with the 2013 Muzaffarnagar riots case. The court has earlier issued 2 bailable warrants after the minister failed to appear despite repeated summons. He and 6 others are accused of inciting violence through their speeches in a Mahapanchayat ahead of the Muzaffarnagar riots. North India has been affected due to harsh weather conditions, with people reeling under the biting cold. Fresh snowfall in Jammu and Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh has influenced many parts of northern India. The minimum temperature in New Delhi dropped to 5.4 degrees Celsius, while Shimla recorded a minimum temperature of 2 degrees. In Punjab, Amritsar was the coldest. Train services have been hit as well due to the foggy weather. International news: and European Union heads of governments met in Brussels on Thursday to discuss new terms for Britain's membership in the bloc. Britain also put 4 key demands on EU reforms. However, Cameron faced resistance over his attempts to restrict the flow of European workers to Britain. Other nations warned that British demands had to remain in line with the principles of the existing European treaties.
Britain is looking for new terms for its membership in the European Union. But its Prime Minister's ideas for migrants aren't finding much favour with members. At a summit in Brussels, French President François Hollande led the all-round resistance to Cameron's plan to ban migrants from claiming British benefits for 4 years. But hopes remain for a deal at a follow-up summit in February.
There's a pathway through this to a deal in February. It's going to take a lot of hard work, but what I sense tonight in the room, that there's a lot of goodwill, there is momentum. People want a deal that keeps Britain in the European Union by giving us that opportunity in our referendum.
European Union leaders want Britain to stay, not only because it is the second biggest economy in the grouping, but also one of its 2 top military powers. But member nations warn that European Union principles on freedom of movement have to be respected. Cameron at the moment is firm on the 4-year ban on migrants.
Qui sont les plus délicates, et j'ai d'ores et déjà prévenu, c'est la question de la zone euro et des prestations sociales pour les travailleurs européens.
Wir haben dahingehend auch unsere Kompromissbereitschaft deutlich gemacht, aber immer im Blick auf die Bewahrung auch der Grundpfeiler der Europäischen Union, und dazu gehören Nichtdiskriminierung und eben auch Freizügigkeit.
We are absolutely sure that we have to be tough when it comes to some red lines and fundamental values. And I can promise you that we will not give up when it comes to free movement or anti-discrimination.
EU says there is good progress on 3 of London's 4 key demands. The last, of course, is its position on the migrants. Cameron, on the other hand, wants EU to demonstrate the flexibility that Britain needs for him to persuade voters to stay in the bloc. Cameron has promised a referendum on EU membership within 2 years. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Beijing has issued a second red alert for pollution, warning its residents to prepare for a wave of choking smog over the weekend. The Chinese capital will see hazardous smog from Saturday until Tuesday. Authorities have advised residents to avoid outdoor activity and closed all schools. Restrictions on vehicle use, factories and construction work has also been imposed. This second alert comes a little more than a week after the first ever such warning. A red alert is triggered when the air quality surpasses a level of 200, and Met authorities have said that this time the smog is expected to exceed the level of 500. In other news, let's get you all the action from the world of sports now. All-rounder Ravindra Jadeja is likely to make a comeback in the Indian squad when national selectors meet to pick the team for the upcoming limited over series in Australia. 3 other players who could be under the spotlight are pacer Mohammad Shami, Ishant Sharma and Murli Vijay, who could replace an out-of-form Shikhar Dhawan as the opener. Indian ace shuttler K. Srikanth has dropped a place to the 9th spot in the world badminton rankings. Saina Nehwal remains static at the 2nd position. Parupalli Kashyap also slipped a spot to be at 15th, while H.S. Pranoy maintained his 20th spot. FIFA's ethics judges started hearing the defense in the allegations against UEFA chief Michel Platini at Zurich today. Platini is represented by his lawyers to argue his case after he vowed to boycott the hearing. On Thursday, suspended FIFA president Sepp Blatter appeared in the same court and spent more than 8 hours there. Both Blatter and Platini may face longer suspensions in a verdict expected from FIFA ethics judges early next week. And that's all we have for you on the news tonight. From the entire team here, good night. Have a good weekend.